So this is where I need my camera crew back again, but sadly they're not here. So, just going to show you this. First of all, don't put too much brush on the paint, otherwise if you put too much on it, it'll start dripping. Like that's starting to roll off the brush. We'll start on an easy low level bar here. The main thing is to maintain, once you get the line, is to maintain the pressure on the brush, and then it'll allow you to keep your line, so you keep a steady straight line along the glass. Notice how I twist the brush as I get into the corners. Just twist it around slightly to get right into the very corner. These Georgian panels are the most difficult to do. I've been painting man and boy for about 64 years now, so but these are the most difficult. So if you can do these, you can do anything. I don't use masking tape because allegedly I'm a professional, so my skill is to try and get it as good as possible without the masking tape. But if you want to use masking tape, the key is to get it absolutely accurately put on, and then if you're doing maybe 3 coats, then it probably does save you some time, but it is quite time consuming to put masking tape on. The other way I sometimes do is just to paint down here a little bit over the glass and then just wipe it off with a cloth wrapped in either dipped in either white spirit or water, depending on whether you're using a water-based or an oil-based paint. And just pick up any runs before they roll down the thing, making sure it's nice and smooth and level. That'll give you the basics. The only way you can really do it is by practicing. So just keep going. Just show you how I do it with the just to go it down with the rag. It's fairly straightforward. You get your nice little cloth. Make sure your finger is nicely into a nice tight shape so you can get into little nooks and crannies, and then just go down the side. And you should have your perfect straight line anyway, but if depending on whether you're using water-based paint or oil-based or spirit-based paint, then use either white spirit or water to clean off the windows, just to clear all the edges, if that's what you want to do. Just let you watch for a bit. Hopefully I won't get my hands in the way or my head in the way too much. Just use the size of brush you're comfortable with. I use these little inexpensive brushes that were produced by Wilco, only because they get a very sharp edge in here. So you get a very nice, neat, tight. They don't hold much paint though, that's the downside. Also, if you've got arthritis or something like that, it pays you to paint with a smaller brush. You just go over it quicker and more, just keep getting the paint on. That's it. Yeah. Still get there in the end. That's it. Just get the pressure on the brush as you get your line going, and then you're ready to go. Let's get Roger the cameraman back, and then it'll be easier to show you better because he can home in a bit closer, etc., etc. Get some paint on that. Put the pressure on. Probably can't see that on the camera either because I'm in the way, or the paintbrush will be in the way. I think I need the same camera crew who work for Nadia and Prue Leith because they do an amazing job. They've got cameras absolutely everywhere. It makes it so much easier to home in on different bits. Sometimes when you're painting the underneath these pieces here, it's sometimes easier just to put paint on here, but also just roughly onto the glass, because then you perhaps get a better finish, because you sometimes, especially when you're lower down, you can't actually see it very easily. So you get it on there, get a bit on the glass, and then use your rag, either with your white spirit on it, or with your water on it, depending on whether it's water-based paint or spirit-based paint. And just simply spread it across there, so you get a nice clean finish. Until you get experienced at painting, and even when you're experienced, if you can take the fittings off, door handles and the key fobs, whatever, it's quite a good idea because then you can keep them clean and tidy. You can soon pop them back on afterwards. The shadows, but shouldn't really apologise for the sun because we're quite enjoying it. It's best to use a paint kettle, although I am using the big tin today. This is nearly its end, so I'm just using this tin. But it's best to put a small amount into a paint kettle and use it as you go, because particularly in this warm weather, it does skin. It sometimes goes a bit too thick and don't fall. Cheers. And so sometimes it doesn't carry on with us, and hopefully we won't get too many interruptions. You never know. When you're putting the undercoat on, you can always put it on pretty toughly. You can paint in pretty much any direction with undercoat. Just main thing is to get it really into the wood or into whatever you're finishing, because then it just gives a good base with the gloss paint. Not so bad with the undercoat, but when you get to the gloss stage, you'll find that you need to keep an eye on the drips and just keep looking at it occasionally and go back to it after 5, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, just to check it hasn't dripped again. And then you can just take those drips off before they go hard, otherwise they just look a mess and unsightly. Now I'm going to fill in the bigger panels with either a roller or a large brush. Stick the paint in any direction with the undercoat on, just get it onto the wood, but then just finish in line with the grain, so on the longer grain, and then get it so it's nicely pressed into the wood. And then once you get to your gloss, you use a much lighter stroke. So ideally I just leave it open to dry for probably 8 hours would be ideal for this. Longer for the gloss, as you want it to be as unaffected by the draw rebates as possible, so it spoils the finish. But sometimes if you're in an environment where you can't leave it open for security reasons, etc., etc., you're a bit stuffed. So maybe then you've got to go back to using water-based paints, which dry a bit quicker. I'm going to paint the Georgian panels with the gloss paint, same sort of way as before, but we use a much lighter brush stroke on this, and just make sure you watch out for any drips on the edges and corners when the paint builds up. Just keep an eye at that, have a look once, twice, 3 times, and then hopefully then just have another look again just before you walk away. Make sure you capture them all, because nothing looks worse than drips on your gloss paint. Not a lot of paint on there. Just keep the pressure on so as you get a consistent line.